Hey, happy Thursday from Real Stuff, Real Change. Hope you're doing well this evening. It is around 6 o'clock, and this is Ryan reporting in. I've been a little slow on the videos. I've been thinking a little bit more about what I want to communicate to the public, dealing with Real Stuff, Real Change. And Real Stuff, Real Change, if you're not familiar with our services, is a service provider that trains and educates people how to be stress-free and content within their own place of safety from an emotional intelligence perspective. In other words, we want to help you help yourself in how you react to things, help yourself with past hurts and relationships, illness, could be fears, phobias. It could be as simple as wanting to learn how to learn. Don't know how to learn, maybe you've forgotten, panic, anything that keeps you from being who you want to be. We want to try to help you, and we do that with a lot of different approaches. We do that with a lot of different techniques. We use tapping, which my wife and I have been certified in a program called Faster EFT. We also use visual imagery, visual perception, like notice what you feel and notice what it would be like if it wasn't there. We use a lot of memory consolidation tools. We use a lot of rewinding movies and rewinding your life through movie films and things like that, and pictures. We use meditation, relaxation. We use anything that we feel that can help the mind shift from that negative to positive perception and really remain that way, not just through a feeling, but through an entirety of your life. So with that being said, that's who we are, and Real Stuff, Real Change is currently in process of creating their YouTube channel, which is up and running and adding videos, to talking through opportunities to start a podcast, which would be based on real stuff and real change, and that could be anything and everything. So stay tuned for that. However, today from Charlottesville, I want to talk to you about two things. I want to talk to you about bottling and brooding, whatever you want to call it. And these two words are used effectively in describing certain characteristics that people hold on to from an emotional perspective. When you think of the word bottle, you probably think of bottle. Like, here's a bottle. Well, it's kind of a funky bottle. It's not a Coke bottle, but it's a bottle. It's something that's holding stuff inside it, right? It's holding it in there. And at the top of it, you see that there's this thing where you can release it and get the the Germ-X out, which, Germ-X is a good thing, keeps the germs away. And but it's a bottle. And in bottling, if you think about bottling, what bottling means, the word bottling means holding it inside. You're holding things inside of who you are. You are fearing the release of emotions. And normally what that means is, if you're a bottler, you push through things and you just kind of put those emotions on the shelf, or that trauma, you kind of stuff it. And you kind of hold it in. And one day when you're ready, you kind of go, you know what, let me go knock on that door and see if I can bring it out, which really normally that doesn't happen. Actually, it happens because you are triggered by something that is related to that trauma. And that trauma just happens to come back and visit you. Actually, it never left. It's just kind of sitting in there because you bottled it. You put it away in a place that allowed you to kind of just act like it went away, but really it didn't really go away. You just decided you didn't want to deal with it. And when you shove away unwanted feelings because they're uncomfortable and distracting, you just basically create an inventory of emotional problems. And so that's what bottling is. And it's kind of telling yourself kind of the status quo feeling. At least I'm alive. At least I have a job. At least I'm not dead. I can deal with that later. That's not that big of a deal. It really doesn't have to be done. And you lose yourself in this process. And one day you wake up and there's this entire closet full of emotional stuff that is waiting for you to deal with, that you now have to deal with all at the same time instead of dealing with it as you go. So it's really important to understand that bottling is an escape method that people use. And most of the time it's men who do this process. And I'm talking to the men because men hate to deal with their emotions. It's almost like, I am not going to deal with my emotions. I am a man. And what happens is you become less of a man, like I did for years, because you decide that being a man is tough and pushing through and banging your head against the wall and doing kind of the same thing over and over again because we're too ignorant. I'm too ignorant to become aware that letting go of these things would help release a ton of my problems. And that's what a bottler does. They put it in, there's no can opener, there's no twist off, there's no, little thing here to get the stuff to come out. It's just there and you just keep it there. It's almost like you store it away like buried treasure and you never spend the money on it, you never open it. With that being said, that's bottling. Let's talk about what brooding means, or brooding, or however you pronounce it. For you language people who will pronounce it correctly and tell me on the internet, I'm sure once I post this, that I pronounced it wrong. Good for you. I'm just trying to get the word out. So this brooding, it's a cousin of worry. And it's when you get hooked to uncomfortable feelings, you stew in misery, you love problems, you love anxiety. It's like it sticks to your body. It's worry's buddy, worry's cousin. He lives right down the street from worry and comes over from time to time. They're both really self-focused. Like, oh man, I gotta think about myself and I gotta inhibit the moment that's not now. I gotta think about what might happen and make myself really sick and really worked up. It's that process that makes being sick even more attractive to you, more negative, more attractive to you. And you could take a mountain, you could take a molehill and make it a mountain, okay? And what I mean by that is you take something that's very small, like this pen, and you create like an ink flood. It doesn't even exist, you see it. Or, you might have a job that you don't like, and then if you think, gosh, if I get another job, will I get one? And you start thinking about not having a job and losing money and not having enough to pay the bills. And that starts to become, you start to brood, you start to increase that worry, increase that. And you think it's solving problems. What you're doing is you're causing problems. Well, I'm just preparing for the future. I'm just getting ready for the future. And really what you're doing is nothing of the sort. What you're doing is you're creating a big old landslide of problems, landslide of assumptions and anxiety and panic. And what you also do if you have a family is you create that landslide into them. They feel that and they start to imitate that. Kids that are 5, 6, 7 years old. And then husbands and wives imitate it. And they have one big happy brooding family, bottling family. It's an epic proportion moment. I mean, it's exciting, right? Not really. It's really, really scary. And so if you think about it, Brooders become more powerful. They become more powerful than a hurricane. They become vortex-based. And bottlers just decide, hey, I'm just going to keep on moving forward, and I'm going to go ahead and bury anything and everything that there's feelings, because I really don't think that I have time to do that more. And also, I don't really want to go there. And so if you take a bottler and a brooder and put them together, you got a hot mess, and you got a hot, jacked up, messy emotional situation. So here's the deal. Ask yourself tonight, if you watch this video tonight or you watch it tomorrow or maybe you watch it next year, I don't care. It's on YouTube. You'll see it on Facebook. Ask yourself, am I a brooder or am I a bottler? And it doesn't matter if you're a man or woman. Most men have been identified as bottlers because they're doers and they want to get things done and they don't have time to feel. And most women are brooders. They're worried and they have to have everything kind of figured out, and they have assumption as their friend, and preparing is negative assumption. Well, what if this happens? What if that happens? But put that aside, whether you're a guy or a girl, are you a brooder or are you a bottler? And when you figure it out and when you write down what you're doing, when you start to identify the things that make you these, ask yourself a couple questions. Why do I behave the way I do? And without blaming the culture or the environment you're in, which are part of the problem externally, start to look at yourself and see what you can do. Make one or two things that can internally change the dynamic of that bottling or that brooding. One or two things. And remember, small chunk change is way better than going for the home run. Because the small little pieces, the small little growths can build up to a home run. That's why base hits are really important in baseball, because you get people on base, and then the guy might hit the ball out of the park or hit it through the infield, and 2 or 3 runs come in, and all that small ball work created all those runs. That's what you need to look at for your emotional intelligence. So brooding and bottling. Are you a brooder or are you a bottler? Ask yourself that tonight. You know, have a little fun with it. Don't be so hard on yourself. Sit down with your spouse or your friends. Make a game out of it. Have a beer over it. I don't know. Just do whatever. Have some wine. We have wine in Charlottesville most of the time. But anyway, that's all the time we got for tonight. I think it's really awesome. Awesome topic. It really is attached to the emotional intelligence level of yourself. If you are in touch and aware of the things you're doing and you're willing to go into those things and really change them, we can help you with that. We can identify them with these things with you and create a way for you to shift your thinking in order to create the life you want. So with that being said, this is Real Stuff, Real Change, Thursday night. I appreciate you guys watching the videos you've watched and viewing them. Love to hear some more feedback from you guys on YouTube, some questions, some thoughts, maybe some ideas you have. Put your comments in there. Give us a private message. Email me. Check out our website as well. Find out more about us. So with that being said, we all got real stuff. We all need real change. We're here to help people's emotional intelligence grow in order to create the life spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally that you want. So I'm Ryan. I hope you have a great night, and I hope you hug your kids, hug your wives, hug your family members, because you just don't know how long you have. So with that, have a great night, great weekend. Peace.